was on the vengeance as well. He knows that he wants to target Skylar, and one of the ways is that vengeance.
Yep, and not to mention, not only did he have the vengeance, he also bought blade armor, right? So every single one of his auto attacks reflect a good amount back at him on top of the critical reduction that you get from the blade armor. It's a very good idea, of course, but even so, Skylar, mechanically, you can see that he's hyper aware. He's
very sound.
He's playing a very hot game today. He hasn't made too many mistakes overall, and I think, you know, with the supplement of the consistency of Sutsujin specifically, these neutral takes have been looking better and better and better, and he's just, in Sutsujin, he's focused on the Lord until Skylar says the call, hey, I have an angle. All right, let's pivot.
Do you think it would have been different? That final moment.
If
Woody went in, portal, they tried to target the Irithel, they tried to target Skylar. Skylar was able to outplay. Do you think it would be different if Skylar died there?
Ooh, yes, I think it would be different. It would be different because I think that Aaron Shiki would be able to kite back Sutsujin, who would be the only other person to deal some real damage to that Crystal. I'm not sure whether he will be able to buy 11 seconds worth of time, but clearing that wave seems very likely if he could.
I think it actually might be. I think it's Iran mispositioning because he cannot recall. He could not recall in that moment. He had to walk to the base, which made RRQ, the base wide open basically. And yeah, Iran, unfortunately, in that last sequence, he was out of position to recall safely.
And that the gel of the chemistry in RRQ in that final moment was insane.
It's ridiculous.
Right? Oh, the outplay from Skylar, but that was facilitated by Edok jumping in.
AOG.
It was beautiful to see.
Oh,
the new pillars of RRQ wreaking havoc in this game. I love to see it.
And you know, it kind of reminds me of something like, you know, when R7 and even Clay decided to join RRQ that time, and everyone was like, man, I miss the old guard. And then they became staples themselves. I think we are seeing the next generation of RRQ really solidify themselves as one of the best teams here in MPL Indonesia.
I agree. And you know, for the past 2 games, we've been highlighting so much about Skylar and so on and so forth. And we actually even mentioned, you know, Dyren's a good player, but we haven't really seen him shine. Finally, Dyren gets the recognition he deserves for game at number 3.
Which makes me wonder, right? If he's pretty decent on this Hilda, I wonder why that his performances on Khalid are a little like topsy-turvy. Because I mean, they kind of do the same thing, except you have a utility alt that actually does something in team fights compared to Hilda, who is just like, I don't like you, and you specifically.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a different kind of feeling as well, right? It's
Is it though?
Hilda.
Is it though? You just go in, you be like, bah! just a little tap, just a little nut tap, and then you walk away.
Right.
Be a little sneaky boy.
You're right, yeah. Quicksand guard somehow same.
Like, the timings of the abilities are different, but the general concept is the same. So I would like to see whether Dyren can expand his hero pool even more. If Hilda is so good, I want to see him be really devastating on Khalid as well.
So now the big question is, well, what do TLID do now, right? What's the main problem here?
I think their main problem right now is that they don't necessarily have an answer into catching Skylar specifically because Cho keeps on getting banned. They need a new answer to this and something that doesn't require a hero to dash, if not be able to close the distance very quickly against Skylar. Because they keep forcing this Natan into Irithel matchup time and time again. And yes, it's a little more favored to Natan if he has full items, but half the time, and based on what we're seeing, the laning phase is where we see Irithel really take control.
So if that's the case, is Irithel worth to ban?
Compared
Switch to
Bane,
blue side?
I think Bane is something that they need to get rid of. I think Bane is a big deterrent here. Because every single time they're about to fight, they're like, oh, I'm going to free hit. And then Bane's like, oh, but I'm going to ult. And it's like, I don't want to be there.
Keep in mind, RRQ has been taking the Bane first phase.
They have.
So is it really worth to ban the Bane 1 slot in that first phase?
Maybe not. Maybe TLID should just pick it up for themselves. Because so far, in terms of rating, I don't know what the stats are exactly, but so far the win rate between Bane 2 Alpha against each other seems a little more Bane favored.
Right now, especially in this matchup,
Okay.
So they have to think about Bane, Irithel.
I mean, Chip now, yeah, Gatot Kacha. That's the answer.
But what, okay, TLID, what if they choose blue side again?
TLID blue.
And then, again, RRQ, leave the chip open. You can't allow the chip to be given to RQ either, right?
They gotta open the whole draft up.
Okay, well, we're gonna see how it pans out before we get into game number 4 because we're gonna throw it over to our host to see exactly what they're doing over there. What are they doing?
Guncang, deg-degan sekali ya Bude pastinya.
Iya Alisa, nih Bude tuh lagi bingung ya, mau upload juga untuk membagikan momen ini.
Wow.
Nih, pilih yang mana ya Alisa ya?
Loh, Bude itu lucu banget. Itu gimana cara ngeditnya Bude?
Gampang banget kalau pakai Samsung Galaxy, semuanya bisa. Nih Bude tunjukin ya Alisa.
Oke.
Alisa pasti tahu kan sebenarnya?
Oh, yang pakai icon bintang itu. Oke, jadi tinggal klik icon bintang, lalu klik Portrait Studio dan bisa langsung pilih, wah ada komik, kartun 3D, cat air, dan sketsa. Coba pilih yang kartun 3D deh Bude. Dan klik buat. Wow, gampang banget ya, canggih banget Samsung Galaxy S24 FE ini. Dan kita bisa lihat.
Tinggal dipilih, ini banyak banget pilihannya Alisa.
Oke, Bude langsung berubah banget ya. Wow, oke. Ini gampang banget menggunakan Portrait Studio dari Samsung Galaxy S24 FE. Dan pastinya fiturnya banyak banget. Wow, pilihannya cantik-cantik banget Bude.
Bude mau upload, kalian juga bisa loh ikutan kayak Bude. Seru nih.
Betul sekali.
Nih, pilih-pilih.
Pastinya dengan membeli Samsung Galaxy S24 FE ini karena khusus penonton MPL bakal ada diskon loh Bude.
Wow, diskon serius.
Betul, karena dengan pembelian harganya mulai 791 ribuan aja per bulan dengan cicilan 0%, bisa dapetin total bonus hingga 2,8 juta dan pastinya gratis 2 kali memory upgrade sebesar 256 GB, Bude.
Buset, seru banget ditambah lagi. Khusus penonton MPL nih, ada yang spesial karena kalian bisa ngedapetin travel adaptor 25 watt, lalu ada Google Play voucher 200 ribu, dan gratis screen permanen MLBB untuk pembelian di samsung.com/id. Pakai kode voucher promo Galaxy S24 FE X MPL.
Dan gak cuma itu aja Bude, karena kamu juga bisa dapetin tambahan diskon sebesar Rp500.000 untuk pembelian pertama di Samsung Shop App.
Waduh, jadi buruan ya karena promo ini hanya sampai 31 Oktober. Jadi tunggu apa lagi? Get yours now.
Betul sekali, jadi bisa langsung aja dibeli di toko Samsung terdekat kalian karena promonya khusus untuk penonton MPL aja.
Benar, dan atau langsung ke toko Samsung terdekat.
Betul, atau bisa juga langsung scan barcode di bawah ini atau di deskripsi. Jadi kalian bisa langsung gampang banget check out dan punya HP yang sama kayak aku dan Bude.
Yeay, tapi nggak hanya itu karena ada sesuatu yang spesial dari Samsung Galaxy juga nih. Karena ada Samsung Galaxy Quest. Buat kalian yang mau ngedapetin ini nih, bisa.
Betul, caranya gampang banget karena Samsung Galaxy FE24 ini prosesornya sangat cepat juga dilengkapi dengan vapor chamber yang bakal dukung kamu untuk win streak seharian tapi HP kamu tetap adem. Jadi buat para gamers wajib banget untuk punya Samsung Galaxy S24 FE ini, ditambah lagi karena ada fitur Galaxy AI yang bisa bantu kamu jadi lebih kece pastinya.
Iya, jadi kalian bisa ngedapetin ini secara gratis. Samsung Galaxy Phone gratis, mau? Gampang banget, kalian tinggal jawab aja pertanyaan yang akan Bude berikan. Pertanyaannya adalah, berapa kapasitas baterai Samsung Galaxy S24 FE?
Yes.
Berapa yuk? Berapa?
Langsung dicari tahu ya Bude, dan cara jawabnya gampang banget, tinggal langsung aja follow akun X dari Samsung ID. Pastikan juga akun X kamu tidak di private supaya kita bisa lihat jawaban kamu. Dan langsung ketik dan cari pertanyaannya di Google. Berapa kapasitas baterai Samsung Galaxy S24 FE. Lalu posting hasil pencarian kamu. Dan pastinya bisa berikan alasan kreatif kamu kenapa kamu harus menangin HP ini. Mungkin para gamers-gamers yang HP-nya aduh udah panas dan lemot banget ya kan. Dan tinggal langsung aja masukin hashtag Galaxy S24 FE, hashtag Galaxy AI, hashtag Fun Experience, dan jangan lupa buat mention 3 teman kamu.
Dan tentu saja, satu pemenang yang beruntung akan mendapatkan 1 unit Samsung Galaxy Phone. Syarat dan ketentuan berlaku.
Yes, dan pastinya periode ini hanya berlaku dari tanggal 23 sampai 27 Oktober 2024 aja. Dan pengumuman pemenangnya
akan ada di X dari Samsung ID. Jadi buruan sekarang ke X, langsung follow dan jangan lupa untuk jawab pertanyaannya. Dan kita ngelihat kalau pertanyaan itu banyak banget ya untuk saat ini. Selain dari untuk ngedapetin Samsung Galaxy tadi, kita juga bertanya-tanya nih, kira-kira mana nih yang masih semangat dari para super fans untuk grand final kita?
boleh kita tes dulu kali ya Bude. Aku mau dengar suara dari Kingdom, mana semangatnya?
The Cavalry, jangan mau kalah, mana semangat untuk tim Liquid ID? Semuanya riuh pastinya karena kita akan menyaksikan. Akankah ada raja yang akan mengambil kembali tahtanya atau akan ada juara baru di season 14? Jadi untuk melanjutkan permainan, sudah saatnya kita melihat bagaimana jalannya pertarungan untuk selanjutnya. So panelists, it's yours.
Thank you so much, Bude, Clara Monster, and Alyssa, and welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the English panel. Thank you so much, Bude, Clara Monster, and Alyssa, and welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the English panel. Thank you so much, Bude, Clara Monster, and Alyssa.
I really want also to touch on TLA and RQ. They made it to M6. There will be new faces in M6 as well.
Yeah, for the first time ever for M Series, we're gonna crown a new champion, right? From PH.
Yeah, no AP Bren.
No AP Brand.
No Echo.
No Echo.
Liquid Echo.
TLPH now.
Yeah, no Blacklist.
No, who else? Oh yeah, that's it, right? Wait, how many M Series have we had? 5.
Well, I mean, if you really want to go into
No Evos.
Evo, exactly, Evo.
Evo.
M1, baby! M1!
M1. I mean, it's exciting to see these new faces because it's not like we haven't seen them before. Some of these people, like Aurora and even Sanji, came through the wild card even, and even when it came down to EWC, Twisted Minds was part of it as well. So I think that it's great to see teams who have been longing to get that championship spot actually achieving it now.
And especially now, it's gonna be a Swiss round, right?
Yeah.
So possibilities are endless.
Woohoo!
Speaking of endless possibilities, what did you guys think? If RRQ are now leading 2-1, how can TLID come back for game number 4? 59%, is that right? 59%. Aaron must avoid mistakes again? Are we... I understand game number 3 being Aaron related, but for game number 4, do you guys agree that this is Aaron related?
Game number 3.
Game 4.
Specifically for game number 3.
Oh, 3, yeah.
I don't think it's 100% Aaron's fault there. I do think generally there is a bit of an issue with the draft right now. It's hard to answer it because if you are taking away something, you're giving away something. And I don't think that TLID have been put in this type of position where Witty is losing out on his really big playmaking heroes, but at the same time having to deal with a draft that is technically pretty passive, that wants TLID to over-aggress and over-commit.
I think that's why I'm more inclined to agree with the second point, right? Don't overcommit is where I feel like TLID needs to repair for game 4. And for game 4, speaking of second pick for RRQ, meaning
Yeah, they're gonna get
TLID.
red side.
Yeah, TLID will have the blue side.
Okay, avoid overcommitting and overextensions. Name me moments in game number 3 that you believe TLID made that problem.
Bank again, I think wanting to kill Darwin in the early, I don't think is wise.
Is that a discipline problem though?
Discipline problem?
Because I feel like in game number 3, the discipline was a lot better
The
for
discipline-
TLID.
Yes.
The discipline
Yes.
was very, very high. I think the biggest overextension probably was around that very first Lord that we saw glimpses of it, and then even when we got on over to like the fight, the overextension of the fight afterwards, which inevitably led to like their mid inhibitor breaking and things like that. I think that was as close as you can get to the overcommitment that people are worried about. But I agree with Eterna. I think so far, coming into game number 4, TLID in terms of discipline is looking a lot better, but they need to find a clear solution in the draft, if not show us something else. Because if not, I feel like Kescube, he's just going to keep replicating this draft again and again and again. Take the chip, I don't care.
I agree. So we're gonna get straight into it, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
For the drafting phase, presented to you by the official tournament smartphone Samsung Galaxy FE.
Yeah.
And there it is.
The shake-up.
Let's go!
Suyo,
Suyo.
Jushin, or Matilda.
Oh, Sushin.
Suyo, right?
I mean, Fabian, he's been having a tough
Come on.
time in Alpha, so
Come on.
I think he needs a bit of a change of pace.
If they want to go, okay, yeah, I don't think giving Suyo to Sitsujin is wise. Picking up the Matilda here, they need to go Suyo, and there you go. RQ, Matilda, Phobius perhaps, or
Obvious bad.
Bane.
Jushin?
Oh, Matilda, Hilda again.
Oh!
So game 2, they banned the Hilda. Game 3, game 4, they picked up the Hilda.
Dang, Kescube. Oh, this so smart. Both of these coaches, very, very smart. They know what they're doing against each other. St. Lucas is still going to have to go in for the Jushin, but he's going to pair it up with the Khalid, and this is a great flex pick against specifically the Hilda.
Okay, Ben Irithal. RQ going for the Cho ban is signaling highly that they might want to go for the Irithal. Do you think it won't work against the Suyo and the Khalid?
I think the worst part about this is that not only do you have to ban out the Irithel, there might be some consideration for Ixia as well. Because again, we're thinking about things that work well with the Matilda at this point of
Oh,
time.
you're right.
Man, Kai, woof.
Just like game 2, RQ, they banned the Akai out. Oh, okay, TLID, you understand that maybe Hilda, Bane, and Paramis, and of course Matilda with Favor. They do not want to combine Matilda, Paramis in the same composition. So, yeah, TLID, they're running out of bans here. Ixia, or Ska, or Irithel, or let them both open.
I think might as well let them both open. It'd be really annoying if we see like Harith into Lunox once more, but I think the iframes are going to be very useful in this game. We'll see what these next 2 bans are before we get into that.
Okay, what is going to be the choice here for RRQ? Why did they go for the Akai ban here, by the way? The Akai hasn't found as much success. Sure, it has worked, but the amount of times it's succeeded as compared to it kind of failing in terms of that execution is quite huge. They're shutting a run down now with the Benedetta now taken off the board.
Okay.
Let's go.
Ban out the Benedetta. They want to force it. Yeah, ban out the Irithel. And now keep it standard here. They know that Skylar can play Lunox, so it doesn't really matter if you get Harith at this point of time. I think that Skylar might even play a more safer option because Natan is still wide open, right?
I think leave the gold lane.
Yeah.
Leave the gold lane.
So, what, high loss here maybe? No. They already have Hilda and Matilda, so Mage, he's
There's no
banned out.
Probably Lilia, right?
Lilia, I think. I like Lilia.
They need some kind of wave clear, some kind of high ground. Vixana is all right as well. It doesn't look like there's too many good ults anyway, so Valentina doesn't seem like ideal just yet.
Or do they want to go crazy Luo Yi? Okay, they open their card with the marksman pick here.
Very safe, very safe.
Natan finally switching over for the Kingdom.
This is concerning.
You're so stressed.
I'm so stressed right now. Oh man, all right. So they already have a nail in the late game now with the Natan. An early game control with the Bane, the Matilda, and the Hilda. TLID, what's the stopper here? They choose Hylos as well as the Beatrix.
I like this a lot. At least Beatrix can hold her own for a little bit. There's a lot of combo potentials, with Bojushin as well as the Khalid. Let's not forget, I don't want to put Suyo out of that picture as well because he has an inbuilt start, but he was more to set up for the other 2.
Yep, Aurora.
Oh, so good.
Perfect. it makes sense, right? You want someone a little bit safer as well. As compared to Vexana with the passive that the Aurora has, if the Suyo wants to go in for a trade kill, it's a lot easier to weave in and out of this with the passive that Aurora has.
Honestly, that Aurora pick might be the pick that makes RRQ to the championship point.
I think it will as well. I mean, Eugloria's pathway, you don't want to get hit by that frigid breath. It really forces you to think about your zone of influence. Taking the traditional front to back might not be easy, but you gotta make things work.
So will we be heading over to championship point, ladies and gentlemen? We're gonna throw it over to our casters to bring you game number 4.
One game away from that ever so coveted MPL Indonesia trophy.
Smash them.
2 steps away.
2 steps away.
2 steps away. 1 away from that elusive match point. There we go.
Welcome to
It's a battle for
Mobile
match
Legends.
point for RRQ. As we get into the land of Dawn for game number 4. 2-1 right now for RRQ and TLID. They got their hands on a Suyo. We've been waiting for this possibility. Fabian on the Suyo. How crazy can it possibly be? Rins, though. No. How crazy is he? Oh, sacrificing the passive.
Whoa, bottom lane. Getting ganked on the Hilda and the Fabian dash forward. First blood for Suyo.
Well, we talked about the Hilda being the pick to kind of keep the Suyo in check,
Not
to
like
contain it. But what is he supposed to do in the situation now, Arashi?
That was the idea, right? Cut the wave, go into the jungle, be a nuisance while your lane opponent, Aran, is supposed to stay right next to the turret and kind of, you know, wait around. But look at Weedy do. Ooh, that's a roam. We thought it was going to be the Hylas, I think. I at least expected Weedy to be on the Hylas. But on the Khalid, we've seen it match up to even the likes of a Cho. So it's going to be a lot of damage in the early game for Team Liquid ID. But the poke, the AoE, definitely favors RRQ. Movement-wise though, Dyran with the Wilderness Blessing, they're going to be roaming around a lot more. And Skylar, despite being up against all the aggression, Bargain Hunter and the Weakness Finder, but look at that damage!
Forced out a flicker already.
Yeah, that is going to be a very, very important resource because he has burned the passive, he has burned the flicker, and next up on the menu would probably be the turtle, so you have to be ready. As Widdy is there counter invading the jungle, Fabian has so much freedom on getting and plundering Sujin's resources down bottom in the jungle. The problem with Suyo now is, of course, he has level 4, he has level 5 even, and they're ready to take this turtle.
Should be free, you know. RRQ don't really, or can't really go for the battle. With so much pressure on the hands of TLID, Fabian gets it, saves his retreat. Trying to go for a cheeky little steal, but knows that RRQ will have avenues to try to stop that from happening.
Yeah, the early damage is what it is, man. I mean, it's the Sushin, it's the Khalid, it's the Beatrix. So many ways for Team Liquid ID to pressure. Just like Edok and Daiwan even, they're both kind of a bit more concerned about their survivability, unlike game number 2 earlier, where they can kind of do whatever they want because they were just too tanky with the Gatot and Hilda, but oh, look at Edok.
Something, but he won't be in much trouble. Of course, TLID, they have better rotations, I suppose, with the Khalid always on its toes. But Vanguard is to heal up, and Fabian has the Hunter Strike. But Dyran, good so far.
All right, maybe not. Maybe you can't take that damage. What the heck? Suyo, very balanced.
Dyran is punished now twice. What's the difference between previous game, Arashi?
Maximum missing HP damage in the Suyo allows them to really burst down targets like Dyran. They want to play with regen, but all things considered, the Natan really hasn't really been the recipient of a lot of big pressure items, and Edok is doing a great job just monitoring, shadowing Weedy, ensuring that not a lot of laners really fall behind. But from the jungle, from the farming difference alone, already a 2k gold lead at 3 minutes. Quite significant. Where do you Sandstorm dodge from?
Wow. Good dodge, Widdy. Knocked up in the circle. Eagle able to flicker out with the regen too. Gets a bit of HP. TLID will just respect this. Well played RRQ to escape from that. Well played Widdy to escape from that too.
They want to brawl out in the early stages of the game. Now still Dyran with the same scenario that it has been in previous game. 1v1 down bottom.
So we get to see how much damage you can truly do on the Suyo. If you can burst a Hilda, that's a lot of damage. Revitalize even. There we go, power wildness. Now Yehezkiel should be able to lift him up. The stun connects, and the execute should get him down. Turtle up top, though, gonna be dealt with
here by RQ, held down. Good snipe over to Rins, now walking forward, throws it down. Frigid Glacier will lock him down. Sutsujin with the help of the guided wind, not able to survive. Winning is slashing him down. Rins cannot sustain from that damage, cannot take that damage. Lantern Flare, Aaron Shiki will gun Skylar down, and Edok will be forced back.
The cavalry recharges their energy, and now they are ready for yet another revolt. Everything is going south for the kingdom.
Wow. They have lagging potential, but the early game is looking really, really rough. This approach from Team Liquid ID to just double down on that early game aggression. I mean, we talked about this a bit, Mirko. Hey, if the game never reaches the late game, because the fights keep happening, because both teams, you know, have it personal. They want to just win it out and show everyone they're better in these fights, in this early game. Then why even get these late game tools? But look at this though, Circling Eagle on a run. Nothing available for RRQ to really realistically get. You're only trying to make sure that Sutsujin doesn't fall too far behind, and Skylar at least gets some really good farm.
It's gonna be okay. Around pops the glorious pathway.
Running through Ray's Sandstorm on the Sutsujin. Frigid Glacier able to stop the deadly catch as well, but now Faven comes in. A snipe from Aaron Shiki down in the mid lane. Will be the end of Sutsujin. 0-2-0 right now.
Problematic for RRQ. We actually talked about how the Hilda is actually a very good pick against the Suyo, and the draft planned out by RRQ is way solid compared to the previous one. But it's now going so hard for them. What's the big problem here, Arashi?
I think it's just Suyo damage. I mean, are you seeing how much damage Faven is doing? Oh my lord. I mean, even against Dairon, he's just shredding him down. It's way too much damage. I think RRQ, in theory, have a good composition, but individually, these heroes are way too strong. And considering the gold lead has increased to 7,000, RRQ are definitely in survival mode. You can see Witty understanding that, recognizing that, looking for avenues to set up traps in the jungle.
Sutsujin.
The execute. Fabian. Whoa, Witty's taking him away. Skylar walking over the entropy. Now Frigid Glacier able to lock Fabian down, but no, it brings out the safety. Witty's zone Skylar away. And they will be able to steal away the orange buff here. Fabian takes it. Witty trying to zone RRQ away from the tier 1 of the mid lane. Only a shot over to the Hilda. They can't take it. And it should be a perfect turtle take for Team Liquid ID.
What's the call now for RRQ? What do they want to do? Back on late game again?
They might have to really bank on that late game. Again, the Suyo in the end is still an assassin, but Skylar!
When he walks up, they try to go for that shotgun for the Wesker on Skylar. But he has the entropy.
It's a scary situation. Skylar also doesn't have the Purify. So, Raging Sandstorm, the stun from the Suyo from Iran, there's danger everywhere, and Dairon zone away immediately, dude. These towers are falling down like dominoes.
The bully gets bullied in this game. Dairon is not having a good time. And you take a look at how much pressure, how much control TL ID has. Circling Eagle.
Ooh, Flicker. So much respect. Knowing that if you do get knocked up there, Rins could just flicker forward and, you know, combo them together with the Aurora.
So in theory, for the late game, they still have a good composition, but survival, right? Is that even possible with all the pressure? And Sutsujin actually gets his purple, but man, Witty is just relentless, dude. Always in the faces of RRQ, and that gives all the time. But look at his play, though.
There he goes, though. Once you use the flicker, you are going to be susceptible to that. Dances to the back. Oh, hey! With a flicker backwards, but still, look at the sustain coming over. TLID Faven with the blink backwards. Skylar trying to go for the chase right now as Edok walks forward. Breaks the quad. Wow! Over Skylar. Entropy getting the range. I did not expect that. A shutdown, a big one at the 8th minute mark, and it went to the worst target for TLID. It went to Skylar.
The castle walls are shook by that one retaliation that is made by the kingdom. They get a lot of kills on that altercation. TLID shut down after what was looking like a very good initiation from Witty.
Aran, maybe locked down again. Circling Eagle, everything. Sutsujin Crab Claw Cannon. He was 0 and 2. He's gotten 3 kills out of nowhere.
We know this issue, man. Aurora, so annoying to deal with if you are the fighters. If you're Witty or Aran, and later on, it's gonna disjoint the formation of Team Liquid ID. The load is up, but Aran is not around.
Uh-oh, this Lord. They wanna fight for it, they wanna blitz it, they wanna dance together on this chance. Conceal open by Witty.
Very early Frigid Glacier, now Raging Sandstorm. Redemption! Now it's Fabian in the midst of it all, jumping in. Deadly Catch used up as Aaron Shiki deals with Dairon. Witty Quick sand guard, still healing, still buying time. Finally frozen and taken down. Fabian with the flank again.
Fabian!
For the Soul Severed will be able to find it. Aaron forward.
Oh!
Skylar gets shot, but he will not fall.
Almost, he assassinates the Crown Prince. It was so close. And now TLID, they have a time frame to control even deeper into the map for RQ.
He's getting his shoulder on the top side. He's going to be forced to go for a 1v1. Fabian is absolutely on the hunt.
Ooh. So Jin stunned.
1v1.
Now slashed down. What is Bane gonna do against Suyo? He's just gonna run. But even then, Suyo can chase. Glorious pathway in the bottom lane. It cuts him from the Lord. Still Skylar able to find a space to go for some hits over to the Lord. 2,000 HP. Diamond gun down here on Chicky. Nibiru's passion, but again, RQ has dealt with the Lord.
TLID, they contain any possible pressure exerted by RQ. They want to play with the side lanes. It was Sutsujin overextending and he was punished for it. Now they might look for a siege. A few more minutes, but still, the passive from the turrets standing strong.
The Holy Crystal is completed for Skylar though, so the man has absolutely enough damage to be a real threat. The fact that he was able to get that shutdown earlier definitely was a big value moment. But looking at the items here, Queen's Wings completed for Fabian, trying to get the reduction just to survive long enough to use the output potential. And Aaron Shiki on a vengeance here, going with the Heptases, the BOD, the Malefic Roar. He wants burst damage, he wants to take down RRQ. He's not trying to do DPS. Therein lies the concern though. He can be great in sieging down turrets, but in the defense, RRQ have so much ways to kind of deter a team with an ID from moving forward. But as of right now, the gold lead that earlier shrunk down to 4K is now back at almost 8K. So Team Liquid ID have regained that momentum.
Yeah, pretty late Hunter Strike there from Sutsujin, but 7.6K gold up for TLID. They're waiting for that Lord to spawn so that they can get that Lord and maybe stage yet another siege. The talisman as well for Edok. That extra cooldown reduction, but now TLID, they're playing the safe. Even Yeskel is itemizing towards that Blood Wings. He wants that extra shielding, Arashi.
Extra shielding and extra movement speed when the shield pops. Skylar though, whoa!
So he's all good.
There's limited crowd control for Team Liquid ID, but there's a lot of burst damage. Skylar might want to be a bit more careful doing that. Look at the damage!
What is that? Disgustingly good. And on Shiki, accurate. And so impactful as well with the Renner's Apathy.
Man, Aaron Shiki with the gun through is gunning down the members of RRQ. Dyron now not having a lot of chances to proc that Thunder Belt. Not nearly as tanky as he was in the previous games. Oh man,
Again? Whoa, let's repeat. Witty has to Raging Sandstorm defensively. And that is one engage tool taken down. But the cooldown, of course, is not going to be a big issue for Witty and TLID. Free Lord Arashi, they blitz it.
Oof. Divine Glaive completed for Skylar, so damage is there. But can he survive though? Team Liquid ID are notorious for being able to find their targets in a team fight. And Skylar just isn't on the same kind of hero like the Iris. He isn't really as maneuverable. If they were gonna let go of a Lord, I would think it with the previous one instead of this one. But now circumstances has pushed their hand with the Lord for Team Liquid ID marching down the mid lane. Do they have enough right here with the Frigid Glacier, with the Entropy? In theory, in the base, Skylar should still be able to just stay safe, to really be that, you know, static defense for the base.
Yeah, proper dive though, Liquid.
They do. The Raging Sandstorm will open up the map and the way as well. Glorious Pathway popped up.
No, Skylar gets caught. Raging Sandstorm from Witty! All the way to the back, finding them. Skylar will fall, unable to utilize the flicker. Tyron gets gunned down and slashed down by Fabian before he can even do anything.
Crystal.
The Suyo, we thought it might be countered here, but maybe the Suyo is just too strong. Fabian on the Suyo, 12,000 gold lead. 2-2. We got a Game 5 in our hands.
Domination by TLID. They will still ride into that dying night. RRQ. They are shook that Hilda wasn't even able to contain the Suyo.
Is that the solution? The Beatrix. Mr. Dyron tries best to do the exact same thing he was doing on the Hilda. Zone away the backline. Be too tanky. But against the Beatrix, has that Hilda bitten more than she can chew. The Weskers, the Nibiru's passion is absolutely melting Dyron down. No pressure at all coming in from the EXP lane. and an absurd amount of damage coming through from the jungle. Team Liquid ID has just powered through the draft through brute force. In theory, RRQ had a chance, but in practice, Team Liquid ID has just stomped all over them.
They don't care about the odds. They like those odds. They equalize the score. We got a game in our hands. Game 5 imminent. And TLID, their young blood's boiling. Again, the revolution, the rebellion is not done yet. TLID. What a game that was.
Phenomenal stuff from TLID, man. Again, you know, I think there was a miscalculation for me, right? I expected the Hilda to, I think they expected the Hilda to be able to match that damage of Fabian, but man, I don't think so. I think this is just why Suyo's just been auto-banned every time. Even here. Tyron just disappeared, man.
That mini Balmon ult though.
Mini Bauman ult, you have an alpha.
A mini retry.
You have an alpha 3-time swing with that hold of the skill 2.
Yep.
You have a stun, a dashing stun with
You have
skill
an
1. You have a
empowered sword.
Yeah, you have a blink.
You change into
skill
Mia?
1. You know what? Nerf 1-1.
Nerf. Hey,
Yeah, probably, man. But
give some respect to my girl.
you want to talk
1-1.
about the elephant in the room, though. Skylar, he doesn't know to purify. Is that too greedy?
Answer our questions, panelists. What do you think about the non-purify Natan in that game? Take it away.
The Suyo.
The Suyo!
Thank you, casters. I mean, I personally am not complaining about the Suyo, you know, being given over to TLID because, man, yeah.
TLID.
Super balanced, by the way, in the early game.
Very much so.
Perfect hero with no